You are looking to buy a new action camera, but you're not sure whether to get the DJI Action 4 or the GoPro Hero 11. Well, this is the video for you. I've got both cameras on right now. I've got them straight out of the box, and this is what the image quality looks like if you're just going to hit record. In this video, I'm going to be doing some tests in low light and also test the camera with its 10-bit and other modes. So let's go. Hey, sorry to break in, but we discovered that 98% of all of our viewers on YouTube are not subscribed to this channel, but we want to change that. So if you hit that subscribe button, hit that like, and leave us a comment below this video, every single video we're going to be giving away a keyboard cover for Final Cut Pro or Premiere Pro, as well as all of our LUT packs for free for one user. So if you're getting the DJI or the GoPro, you can win a LUT pack for that camera. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave us a comment below, and you could be this week's lucky winner.
So as mentioned, the cameras are in their standard mode and their standard picture profiles. So what do you think of the image quality so far? In this video, what I'm going to be looking at personally is what's the background separation like? Is it too sharp in the background? Is it nice? What are the sort of facial features looking like if you're using it as a vlogging camera? The GoPro in this natural picture profile, I think it looks a little bit harsh on your skin. What do you think? We're now going to do some low light testing a little bit by going under this bridge here. It's obviously not that dark, but just have a look at the noise, see what you think. What I like to see is how does the camera handle these kind of situations when you're going from light to dark? How's the exposure? How's the noise levels? Especially if you want to use this type of camera as your only camera, if you're going away on your travels, or if you want to use it as a vlogging camera. So as mentioned, I have this just in the standard stabilization modes as well. So if you tilt, the camera is going to tilt on both cameras. Later on, I will be testing out putting it in a horizon steady in both modes, so if you tilt it left and right it should stay nice and straight. And then what I will be doing as well is putting the cameras into 10-bit and their flat picture profiles, so we can really see what the best image quality you're going to get out of this camera is. Now right now I'm walking down Worsley Canal, and it's actually not the sunniest day. It's a little bit grey today, a bit overcast. I'm going under some trees, so I thought this would actually be the perfect test, because you know, everyone can film in a beautiful blue sunny beach, but really that isn't what happens every time you go out filming, is it? It might be a bit overcast, you might be going through the woods or in some buildings, and that's really where you'll see the flaws in cameras like this and the big differences. I also want to mention as well, I'm going to go under a motorway in a minute. So what are the microphones on this camera like? I have them set to use the internal microphones on both cameras, and we've also got the wind reduction set to auto. So it should be doing its own job of reducing some of the background noise, some of the wind noise. It is a little windy today. So you tell me, what is better, the Action 4 or the GoPro Hero 11? You might be able to hear that traffic noise above me right now. Catch up with my wife and do a little stabilization test just in this mode. This is the footage with the standard picture profiles. But you know what, I want to get the best image quality possible coming out of these cameras, so I'm going to switch them both to 10-bit and into flat, and then we're going to color correct them and see how good the image can be out of both of these cameras. Both cameras are now in 10-bit and they are on their flatter picture profiles, or in the case of the Action 4, we've got it on D-Log-M. So what I like to see on these cameras is what is the best image quality that we can possibly get out of these cameras. Because I like filmmaking, I do enjoy it, I do tend to use the highest bit rates, the flattest picture profile when I use these cameras. Sometimes, of course, if we're just going on holiday and I want to do a quick edit, then I will just use the normal picture profiles. And that's one element I've been a bit disappointed with on the GoPro. I found that the natural and higher saturated picture profiles were really not kind to the skin. They make you look very blotchy and don't really make your skin tones look very good. So let me know, this is just flat right now. What do these look like? Of course they will look flat, desaturated. Now let's turn on a bit of color correction and we'll see if we can improve the image quality here right now. So there we go, we've color corrected both of these images on the GoPro and the Action 4. Again, it's a very grey day, to be honest. We're not getting a lot of blue skies here. So what do you think of the image quality now? 10-bit on the Action 4, 10-bit on the GoPro, flat on the GoPro, and D-Log-M on the Action 4. How does it color correct? How does it color grade? What do we think? Now, one thing I will say positively about the GoPro is that when I've used this in the past, I've always been impressed actually with the GoPro Hero 11 that there is a tiny bit of background blur. So it makes it look to me much more like a regular camera, like a Sony ZV-1, that kind of camera. Whereas the Action 4, in my tests up until recently, the background is extremely sharp. All of the trees and leaves are extremely sharp. Now, I've put sharpness down to -2, I've put noise reduction down to -2. So this is the kind of softest, cleanest look that you can get out of this camera. There's been a firmware upgrade actually since I did the last test, so you'll be seeing this the first time I see these results as well. But what do you think of that? The next thing I'm going to do is turn on the horizon balancing, just because this is what I tend to use if I'm using this camera. If I'm surfing, if I'm going for walks, things like that, it keeps the horizon nice and steady. Gets rid of some of those left and right shakes that you get that can make you feel a little seasick. By the way, it's getting quite windy now, so how are the microphones in both cameras holding up? But let's turn on the horizon steady and we'll do a little run. So horizon balancing is turning on, so if I tilt my arm left, tilt my arm right, it probably won't look like anything's happening to you because the camera is nice and stable, but it does crop in a little bit on this camera to the right. It's cropping in quite a bit on the Action 4 to achieve this. The GoPro doesn't look like it cropped in all that much, but let me know. Now let's do a run towards my wife. Okay, let's do a running test. 10-bit on both cameras. Horizon lock is on. How steady are we looking? GoPro Hero 11 on my left. Action 4 on my right. Is the crop factor a little too far? Or is it okay? Now, so far, all audio you've been hearing is from the inbuilt cameras with automatic noise reduction turned on. Now, this is a pretty good feature actually if you're just using the camera as it is without an external microphones. Great thing about the Action 4 is that you can actually plug in an external microphone. But there is a little secret weapon I use one of these. It's called a wind slayer. I'll put a link in the description. But what it allows you to do is put this over the microphone. It works as kind of like a dead cat. It's going to block out any wind noise, and it means you can turn the automatic wind reduction off, meaning you'll get much better wind reduction anyway, because it's a physical object blocking the wind, and it will tune down that robotic sound that you sometimes get when there is a little bit of wind on the cameras. So I'm going to put this on now. One thing I'm worried about though is that the Action 4 has a color temperature sensor in the O of the Action 4 logo. So by covering that up, is it going to ruin the footage? Let's test it out. So here's what the wind slayer looks like when it's on your cameras. It's essentially a piece of foam that goes all the way around. You can see it looks a little ridiculous, but it does do a fantastic job of basically reducing wind noise, and it means you can turn that wind reduction off in the back. This works fantastic for the GoPro. You can see this one's a little bit worn out. I've been using it for quite some time. Let's test it out for the Action 4 and see if it actually affects the image quality. Okay, so I have turned wind reduction off completely on both the cameras. It's still a little bit windy. So has this affected the picture quality of the Action 4? That's my biggest concern with this. And also, does it cover the microphones correctly? So if I swing around, is it actually reducing that noise? I'll do some tests with both cameras. We'll do a spin with the GoPro Hero 11. I'm just going to bring the camera around me really quickly. It is a bit windy now. Now let's do the test with the Action 4. Spinning the camera around me just to make sure we capture some of that wind, and it is a bit breezy right now. So again, I'm just going to keep talking so you can hear my voice. Obviously, what happens when you have auto wind reduction turned on, the camera is essentially using like a noise reduction algorithm to make your voice sound better, and it does a good job, but it does reduce the quality and the clarity of your voice. You might have heard, if you've used an Action camera before with this saying on, it sounds a bit robotic. It sounds like you're underwater. So with this on the camera, it means you're essentially getting the highest quality audio out of the camera because you're not using that digital noise reduction. You're actually physically blocking the noise with a dead cat, essentially a piece of foam, and should be nice, crispy and clear. Now, I've been really impressed with the microphone quality on both of these cameras, but let me know, is the image being affected by me covering up that temperature sensor? I hope not, because I'd love to use this on the Action 4 and just get nice crispy audio. Still pretty windy. We're now going into the RHS Gardens. I've also just turned the linear horizon balancing off just for these next set of tests. We're still in 10-bit, so we can still color grade this footage. So now let's test the cameras on their widest views. Let's go. And what I'm noticing on the Hero 11 is that you do get a lot more warping here. This is obviously a straight wall,
And on the widest view, the Action 4, even though it's slightly warped, looks a little better than the GoPro. So now we've seen a bit of 10-bit with the flat picture profiles. Because we're in these colourful gardens, I'm going to turn them back to their normal picture profiles. So that's a vlogger's look at these two cameras. Let me know in the comment section what you think about these cameras, and remember, you can win a free Action camera LUT pack and a Premiere Pro or Final Cut Pro keyboard cover by commenting below and subscribing to the channel, and we'll pick one winner every single month.